So I'm Tracy Miranda. I work for, I run a consultancy which helps enterprise adopt open source software. And that's mostly in the Eclipse space. So anyone use Eclipse IDE? Yeah? Ooh, okay, I can't fix your bugs, but, well, I can, but I'm not going to. But I'm here to talk about Eclipse and how that's evolved. So in the same way Apache was once just a web server and it's evolved to a whole set of different communities, the same things happened in the Eclipse open source foundation, so that we started off as an IDE, but it's now evolved to these 3 different working groups. So LocationTech, Science and IoT. So before I go into that, I'll talk about why I'm talking about this here. So earlier this year, I got the chance to go to Cloud Foundry Summit, and I recognize a few were there. Yeah, who was there? Just show hands. Yeah, great. I was doing the diversity keynote at that, which was really fun, talking about sort of 7 habits of diverse communities, and we had a connected bucket, and yeah, it was good fun. But besides that, I got a chance to go through some of the talks, and I noticed that there were these recurring themes, that there was a lot about data science, and there was tons and tons about IoT, and I'm sure there was some location tech in there as well. But I think what's always worked for me is just collaborating with other people and knowing what's out there. So in the spirit of that, I thought I'd come along and talk about some of the projects that we're working on in the Eclipse space, and I think there's lots of potential there for some future collaboration, especially with Cloud Foundry. Okay, so we've got these 3 areas that sort of exist in the center, the overlap between scientific computing, Internet of Things technology, and location tech. I'm just going to check what people are working on so I can tailor the presentation a bit. So anyone doing or going to do anything on scientific computing? No? Okay. IoT?
Done some IoT.
Done some IoT. And anything to do with location information? Okay, great. And the rest of you are going to learn a lot, so that's fine. Okay, so very quickly, there's a location tech group, and that's got lots of different member companies in it. And it's got a whole host of projects, 17 of them. They all start with geo something. I'll just highlight 2 here. One is called GeoGig, which is like a Git for geospatial data, so it lets you diff different types of things, and it understands coordinate systems. And then if you take that same concept of geospatial data specific technology, you've got GeoMesa, which is things like Hadoop and other big data type frameworks for geospatial data. So I don't really do that much at the moment with location tech. So we'll move on to Internet of Things. This is probably one of the biggest groups that's got a lot of buzz around it. So same sort of thing, lots of companies. And there were loads and loads of projects in there, and one of the things that's recently happened is they've sort of organized these projects into different IoT stacks, and there's even a white paper about how you could go about using just purely open source solution for building your software for the Internet of Things. So whether you're dealing with the device or the gateway, which collects all the information from all the sensors, or even then the cloud platform, there's something in open source for that. And the main 3 areas this kind of applies to is the smart home, smart cities, and industrial IoT. So on the smart home, so I'm not really interested in having a smart home. I would, however, really like a smart chicken home, because we keep chickens and that's my daughter manhandling them. But it's really nice to have just a few things like knowing when they've gone in for the night, having a door that opens and shuts automatically, and just being able to know things like the temperature of the water in the winter or even when I'm away. And so there's a platform called OpenHab, which is based on Eclipse Smart Home, that works really well for connecting all these things up. Going back to this list, the main set of projects in Eclipse is actually focused on industrial IoT. And one of the things I highlight there is that while Eclipse sort of covers the lower-end technologies and has different frameworks, when you get to the PaaS side, then there's a lot of synergy there with Cloud Foundry. Okay, lightning talk. So go quickly to the science working group. This is the one I'm very personally involved in. There's my company there, lots of member companies, but the difference is we have our own philosophy as well. So that's kind of unofficial, but that's our approach to things. Lots of scientific workbenches existed in Eclipse, some from Oak Ridge National Labs, Diamond Light Source. There's one from the Canadian Space Agency. And the main idea was to try and figure out, well, how we can make this more modular and just share things. So we've sort of broken that down into these different areas of visualization, workflows, data structures, and Python scripting. And again, it's something that all these workbenches will be headed to the cloud, so it's definitely an area to kind of work together in the future. We have a project which is a NumPy for Java, so if anyone's familiar with Python and NumPy, I'll skip through that quickly. And we do a lot with Python scripting, which is just tightly integrating Python and Java so they can work together. Okay, and I'm going to do a quick plug. If you're interested in just knowing some more, we're having an event in London next Thursday where we'll have speakers talking about these different areas. So we're doing that with Women Who Code and the lovely Jen. So yeah, if you're interested, just grab me, talk about any of these topics, or come along to the meetup next week.